Hi everyone and welcome to this week's Pen of the Week video. This is a series where I showcase an ink and a pen combination that I'm going to be using this week that I'm excited about. I want to keep these videos pretty short, so let's get underway. Here is last week's, which was the Visconti Rembrandt with Birmingham Pen Company's Jean Kelly Raspberry Rain. Beautiful combination, lovely pen. The ink dries, actually settles a lot more burgundy sort of magenta than the purpley sort of magenta that, or purpley burgundy sort of colour that it comes up in when you first write with it, which is fine. It's just, you know, like it's a bit sort of more like sort of a red winey sort of colour once it's sort of dried and settled and all of that, which is quite nice. Loved writing with it, loved writing with the pen. But anyway, that was last week. This week we have the Wingsung 698 and Robert Oster's Dragon's Knight ink. Now, this is a cool ink. It's relatively new. It only came out earlier this year. And this pen came out, I think, about, or probably almost 2 years ago now. And it sort of changed the scene, as you'll see in just a second. But I've got a video on my channel here about the pen hack I do with these pens where I put a pilot nib in them. Nib I take from the Plumix, which is the 1mm stub nib, what they call their broad nib. So you can check that video out. I'll try and remember to link it below. So yeah, anyway, that's what it is. Let's talk about this combination. So why do I like the pen? Well, as I said, this was a game changer for the price point and the fact that it's a piston filling pen, so huge ink capacity and all of that. It really changed the market, and it led to a lot of other pens like the a few other sort of Wingsung pens, and that sort of really taking brands like TWSBI by surprise. It's super affordable, under 20 bucks for this pen, which is really great. And the pilot nib, which is, the fact that you can put a pilot nib on this does mean that you can get quite a lovely writing experience and a huge amount of ink. Okay, ink. The saturation on this ink is great. Now, there is sheen on this. You can't quite see it, I don't think, in this light, but there's a little bit of gold sheen that sort of pops up on this ink, which is really cool. The colour is great. It's sort of this sort of dark blue, sort of almost purple sapphire-y sort of colour, which I really like. And the performance. Robert Oster inks are really reliable. They're not. This isn't the wettest ink, but it is certainly wet enough to lay down in a sort of nice, attractive line. And it performs well on most paper, which is why I've got it ink this week, because I don't know what paper I'm going to be writing on much this week with work. Okay. Let's do the writing sample, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. So this is from, as always, Dracula by Bram Stoker. Where we left off. Okay, so this is a really sort of nice pen with this nib. It's quite smooth. It does have, it's slightly stubby. It's not the stubbiest, well, it is stubby, but it's only about a 1mm stub, so it's not gonna sort of have as much line variation as like a 1.5 or even a 1.1 really, but it is quite a sharp difference, which is really nice. Now, obviously, as a left-handed writer, the angle is slightly different, but you still get the same effect, and it lays down a nice sort of reliable sort of amount of ink as well. So, and this ink, as it's not the wettest ink, but it's sort of wet enough to allow for sort of some of that shading and things like that. It's not sort of the most shady ink, but yeah, it's quite nice nonetheless. So that's this week's combination, the Wingsung 698 and Robert Oster's Dragon's Knight. Looking forward to using that throughout this week. Next week, I don't know if there's going to be much change, so it might be just another pen I've got inked at the moment that pops up. I'm sort of working quite a lot away from home, so it's going to be a fun week. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to stay up to date with the videos that I produce. Please feel free to get in touch using any of the platforms listed below. Find me on Instagram or Twitter at @the_offstage_me. Please get in touch if there are products you think I should be looking at, new products or products from your region of the world that you think I might like. And if there's a way you'd like to support the channel, either through product sponsorship or any other way, get in touch and let's see what we can do. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you later.